All right, welcome team. So glad you guys are hopping on here. Jamie Haskin here, Diamond Ambassador, and I titled the announcement for this call, What You Think, What You Say, What You Do Duplicates. So we are going to break that down, and we're gonna go through a lot of aspects to that. Yeah, I'm talking. I feel like that sounded like more than one person's talking, but I'm going to talk about several aspects of that. So if you want to grab a pen and paper or take notes or whatever, I'm going to kind of talk through several things that I think are either going to be possibly important for you to hear, or maybe something you can utilize with your downline, or both. So first of all, duplication holds a lot of power. Okay, it's the difference between selling and creating this business, right? It's the difference between operating one day at a time versus building this legacy. You can become the master of all things Plexus. You can gain all the knowledge of what to say and how the products work and troubleshoot like it's nobody's business. But if you are the only one doing that, if you have to dig deep and be the puppet master of all the things, if what you're doing is not duplicating, then we have a problem, right? You can work 12 hours in a day and do all the things, but if duplication is either not happening on the receiving end for you, or if it's not being duplicated down and passed down, then we are missing the boat, right? So we are going to talk about how we think, what we say, what we do, all the aspects of that, because sometimes without even meaning to, some things may get duplicated down that you don't even want to get duplicated. So sometimes it's not just what you're not doing, it's maybe what you are doing or what you're saying or what you're thinking. So if we're wanting to make an impact deeper than ourselves, if you're wanting to build a strong foundation in your business that's going to be sustainable, that's going to be the long haul. We're looking at the big picture, right? We're not looking at today or just tomorrow or looking at, our next goal that's just right in front of our face. We're looking at big picture here. This is going to be the strong foundation that's going to sustain us and grow us through all the ups and downs. It's going to raise up leaders. It's going to build this legacy business instead of having your hands in every single tiny thing and micromanaging to stay afloat. So if you're with me, I know that you guys agree that this is an important thing, right? Why else is it important? It makes life easier. It will make your life easier, friends. So who does not want that, right? We want things simple. We want it easy. So instead of, like I said, being the puppet master in charge of everything, moving all the pieces yourself, working yourself into the ground, you are duplicating systems that work to people who do the same. And suddenly you have joins on several levels deep and people ranking up on levels 2s and levels 3s that you did not personally work one-on-one with to get to that rank, right? It's the bigger picture. It's just not you having to do everything. It's happening, and it's happening on a deeper level, which is why what is being duplicated down at the beginning matters for the long haul in the end game, right? So the things that we duplicate are coming from leaders from before us, right? Leaders from the top. It's coming from diamonds who were diamonds 5 years ago. I remember when I started, that was one of the things on the phone call with Tiffany and Fallon is they said, not only building belief in where they're going with this and the products that work and, network marketing in general, but they said, we are learning from diamonds, from people who have done this. And if we do what they do, we're going to get there too. And that was right away in my mindset. Okay, they're going to the top. They're learning from people who went to the top. If I just do what they do, I can do this too, right? So it's something that works. And we have now tons more jewels and diamonds on this team right here, right? And I know we have lots more coming. So duplicating systems that works. And This business, sure, it takes grit, it takes determination, it takes consistency, and it takes work, but it is not lacking in simplicity, okay? It's not lacking in the simple things. It is doable, it's systems that work. So first of all, we are gonna start with where this all starts with. It starts with us, right? It starts with you. It always starts with you. In order to duplicate, we first have to be coachable. No one is above this. This is the first person coming in, the brand new person who just ordered and is doing the business. It is the leaders and the people at the top of this company, right? A key component to leadership is being coachable and seeking leadership and wanting to learn and grow. So no one is above this. This is important. So ask yourself these questions. Are you talking to your upline? Are you asking them questions? Are you open to hearing how you can improve? Are you putting into action the things that you're being coached, right? Duplication. Are you just not just hearing it, but you're actually putting it into action? You're not just talking the talk, you're walking the walk, right? Do you get defensive easily, or do you give excuses often? It starts with you. So let's talk about tangible, basic things that we should be duplicating. If someone wants to reach any goals in this business, beyond just helping a couple people, maybe going silver, that might happen a little bit here and there, and someone might not want to keep going. Okay, whatever. If you have any goals in this business beyond that, where you want to reach a goal this month, maybe an incentive bonus, maybe your next rank, maybe all the way, whatever it is, duplication is something that must happen, okay? And mind you, we want to be building all the belief out there, right? We want to be casting that vision to people about what is possible, because if someone is not thinking big enough, then you get to be that person to think big for them and to show them what is possible. So show them that vision of the top, of what is possible, of what that looks like. So the first three things that I mention when I'm talking to someone who has goals and wants to do something, you guys probably know them well. We talk about team calls, which you're on right now, which is awesome. Those are important to be on live. It's important to be a part of a community. It's important to make these things a priority and something that you are going to, sorry, stick with me 1 second here. Need a couple people. Okay, I think we're good. Something that, if you're in a corporate job and you had a business, you have meetings you have to show up to. You have to show up at work. You have to do certain things, right? And if we're going to treat this like a business in terms of reaching goals or helping other people reach goals and, having, vision set here for what is going to happen, then we have to show up with some tangible, basic things. So team calls, book club, massively important, personal growth. It's the strong foundation for your business, right? So team calls, book club, IPA chat, income producing activity. We all have those available. Talk to your upline. It's the basic, tangible things that you can do to plug in, but then you also help your team do that, which means if you're in those things, great job, awesome, be consistent, don't make excuses. But then we have to open our mouths and we have to talk to our team about that too, right? If they have told you that they have goals and they want to go places, then don't be afraid to talk to them about the important things. Other things that may get overlooked at times, but are important, because this is why, if you engage in the community, you're a part of it, you're showing visible leadership amongst your upline, your sidelines, your downline if you have it. If you don't yet, that's fine, that will come, but it's still very, very much important. So these things are things like commenting on the welcomes and the announcements in the team page, tagging your people in posts as it applies. So hint, if your upline tags you, then you should be tagging your downline. It's duplication. It connects your people with the culture of this team. It adds in the daily growth and the learning that your team needs. And again, it makes your job easier. If all you have to do is tag your level ones on something like a training post or a team call or something on health and wellness or whatever it is, all you have to do is tag your level ones and they duplicate that effectively and so forth and so forth. Suddenly you are reaching possibly hundreds of people, or 2, 3, 4, 5 levels deep, whatever it is, you are reaching all of them because duplication is happening. But if duplication is not happening, then they cannot be a part of that. They cannot, you cannot reach them in that way. So that is huge. Add new joins to the team page right away. That's another thing. Open up those three-way chats with your upline right away. And I'm talking same day. I'm talking next day at most. No waiting around a week or two. No putting it off, being lazy or whatever, things. I'll get to that at some point. There's no better time to connect your people to the culture and the community and what we have going on than right away when they're excited to get their products, okay? And of course, this is key to retention. You guys, we've talked about this over and over. There's tons of calls on it, but key to retention in terms of the community and these three-way chats, in terms of helping people have success with their products, in terms of the whole training component that your sponsor gets to, learn from the upline. So important. And these are basics, these things that we mentioned, these are basics that everybody should be doing from the start, right? They're baby steps, but they're vital. And then other things that we can look about or think about, showing up on calls with your video on even, having your video on, typing in the comments of the chat. These are things that help bring you a part of the community. It matters. Like you feel more engaged. People get to know you, your comment, you talk to each other. It just brings you part into the community. So consider doing those things. And then your team is most likely going to follow suit with what you do, right? And you're showing visible leadership. Back to the visible leadership. So another thing, how about coaching calls? These are very important, okay? Talking on a weekly basis with intentionality about your goals and action steps matters. It's a totally different thing than talking regularly every day with questions and whatever just happens to come up, whatever happens to come to mind, and staying in touch. Yes, that's good, that's important, but there's a different purpose with coaching calls if you do those weekly and you get on with intentionality of goals, of seeing what's working or what's not working, asking the questions, seeing maybe what is missing in duplication. If you learn to ask the questions, you can figure out what's going on 2, 3, 4 levels deep just through your level 1, through the coaching calls, through asking the questions, and maybe finding things before there's a hiccup, finding things before it gets to a bigger problem, right? And helping build and train and bring up leaders in the most effective way, right? And this is often how you can help people think big, right? You can cast that vision more. You can, be ahead of the ball game to figure out what's missing. Other areas, what about posting the team page? That's another good one, right? Posting a team page, or maybe doing a video, adding value on a consistent basis. And again, it's more ways that you can show visible leadership to other people on your team, on your sidelines, on your downline, all the things. And all of this that we've talked about so far falls under duplication, right? Things that 100% matter if you want to grow a strong business. So do me a favor and some more reflection questions. Ask yourself, am I duplicating all of these things? Am I doing them well? And what can I do better with? Okay, and then you can think about your team as well a little bit in that retrospect. So it starts with us, right? That's what we're talking about. It starts with us first, but then we have to intentionally pass down the love, right? We're not just keeping all this goodness, all the tips, the tricks, everything to ourselves. We're passing it down. So it does not end with us. So sometimes I think it can be super easy to get busy with, we're being coached and trying to realize, okay, what do we have to work on, or what do we have to do? But we have to remember that we're passing along all that goodness and all that coaching to our downline. So duplicating these things down to our team, some of it might come naturally, kind of like what we were talking about, like people will follow what you do, right? So some of it, if you're doing the things, they might pick up on some of it. It might come a little bit naturally, but more importantly, what they see you do will be maybe what keeps your team going strong and keeps them duplicating well. But it first, before that, must come intentional coaching. It must come with communication. We can't just assume that people are going to be doing what we do, that our team is going to do what we do. We have to communicate to our people what is important. So telling them to duplicate, all the things that were mentioned above, seeing if they're doing that, asking the questions, making sure those things that they realize what's important and what are the important things to duplicate. Never, ever, ever, ever assume that people are just going to do it. Don't assume that they know what to duplicate. Don't assume that just because you told someone once or even twice that it's being done, and don't assume that they're telling their people what to do or what to duplicate. That's going to put a big roadblock if we just think everyone else has got it and they're doing, all the things.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Oh, sorry, Kristen, was that on purpose to me? I heard, excuse me, ma'am. I'll just keep going. Okay, so what else was I saying here? Okay, so with assuming, most of the times we can see what our level ones are doing a lot easier, right? We can see if they're adding people in three-way chats. We can see maybe what they're doing at an easier basis, right? But don't be afraid to, first of all, don't be afraid to have those conversations if there are pieces missing. If they want to succeed, you know that. We want them to succeed, right? So we have to communicate and do our best by them, which means maybe, saying like, hey, I see that you're not doing this, is there a reason, or what's holding you back from that, or whatever it is. Have those conversations if you see something missing, because we know that we want to set them up best. So talk to them if things aren't being duplicated. As you get deeper down with levels, you're not putting three-way chats with your level 3s, with your level 4s, right? So this is where it's important to always be asking questions when you're coaching your level 1s. So for example, I might ask my level 1, hey, is Mary putting her new joins in three-way chats? How's Joe doing with following up with his new joins? Are they doing good on their products? Are you getting on coaching calls with Mary and Joe? Is Mary doing coaching calls with her new runner? Are they getting everyone put into the team page? So if everyone is duplicating well, those will all be yeses, right? But we're not going to know what's going on, again, if we don't ask the questions, right? And if we see that something is not happening, then we can fix it right away instead of waiting until all of a sudden there's maybe an issue and we're like trying to backpedal and see what's going on. So for example, if Mary has a new join and Sarah's getting a ton of joins, right? Then that's a great thing, but ask the questions. Let's be proactive, right? Okay, great. Is Sarah popping everybody in three-way chats? Is Sarah putting people on the team page? Ask the questions so you know that everything is being set up and duplicated well, right? Be proactive about that ahead of time so we can go against battle against any potential roadblocks that could come later. Yes, you're doing your friends a disservice when you keep letting them do the wrong things. Exactly, Cody. So that's, again, why coaching calls are so important to duplicate, right? Because you can't know what's going on with your team if you're not getting on calls, if you're not asking the questions. A lot of that comes with intentionality and being very specific and proactive about that. So what you do or do not do will duplicate down. And this is powerful. And this is a very pivotal moment, because if you're kind of putting half the work in to duplication, if something seems seemingly unimportant, like decisions, like, I'll get that person added to the team page eventually. Or, oh yeah, I'll open up that three-way chat tomorrow, which becomes tomorrow, which becomes tomorrow. Or, I don't feel like getting on book club tonight because I'm tired, it was a long day. Or yeah, I just forget to comment in the IPA chat. I do it. I just forget all the time, these things become a lot more important when your whole team starts doing the exact same things, right? The good will duplicate down, but so will the bad habits. So if you want your team to show up, guess what? You got to show up. If you do things halfway or not at all, you better believe that is what your people will do, or less. And if you try and catch up later, and try and be like, okay, well, later I'll get that going. Okay, now I'm going to get these people duplicating. Now you have a host of people who already joined, and now they do what they know. They do what they learned to do when they joined, right? They didn't get people in the team page right away. So, they're not you didn't put them in the team page right away. So they're not putting their people in right away. They didn't get put in a three-way chat right away. So now they're not putting people in a three-way chat right away. So can you see how this is like all these problems in terms of duplication from the start? And this is important because you don't want to think like, okay, just because I have a couple people that it doesn't matter as much, I'll wait till I have a big team. Well, if you start small, if you start when they're just joining, then that's where that duplication is powerful, right? If you already have a big team and they're doing all the things wrong, now you have to somehow rein everybody in and teach them the value of something that you didn't portray having value before, right? So this is important from the beginning to do this right away. If you're only getting on half the team calls and just popping out a book club when it's convenient, your people are gonna follow suit. And even more so, they probably won't do it at all, because chances are better than not that your people under you will not go above and beyond the effort that you are putting in. You will be lucky if they even match your effort. So if you want your people to succeed and to show up, then you better believe that you need to first. Your new people starting to duplicate will start to duplicate what they experience, right? So we kind of talked about this. They'll duplicate what they see you do, what they think you have, what they see and you portray that you have value in. They're going to duplicate those things. And when you're doing these things and doing them right, you're showing them what has value. And you're teaching them from the beginning. So let's quick shift gears to mindset really quick, because all these things that we've talked about are really good action steps. They're tangible, duplicating things to build a strong foundation, right? But our mindset is also super important. It plays a huge role in duplication, and perhaps could be the most important thing, because if our mindset is trash, then the action steps will be a hot mess, right? We have to have our mindset in place. So what does that look like? What are you telling yourself on a daily basis? Are you a negative Nancy? Are you assuming the worst? Are you telling yourself the worst? That kind of mindset will seep out, and it is something that can definitely be duplicated. How do you want the culture of your team to look like? Do you want it to be a team of excuse making, of being negative, of assuming the worst? That comes from the top. So what do you want to duplicate with your team? What do you want your people to think about themselves? What do you want your people to tell themselves about themselves? You have to emulate that. So what do you think about the things that we even talked about tonight? Are there things that you're like, three-way chats, yeah, but they're okay. Do you have things that come to mind that you don't think are as important? The three-way chats, if you don't think they're very valuable, maybe you open them, but you don't talk in them because, we talk privately a lot, we're friends. Well, guess what? Your people will likely not use their chats either, and they won't have much value in them. So another thing, do you assume the worst when your ambassador turns their subscription off? Oh, they just don't want their products, they're probably quitting. Well, guess what? You probably won't reach out to them, even though it could have been an accident and they actually want their products. Or maybe they have extra products on hand and you could use it as an opportunity to troubleshoot how to be consistent with their products, or even try a new product, right? Or maybe you do initially reach out, but you immediately say sayonara because in your mind, you're assuming the worst, right? And they say, oh, the products don't work for me. So you're like, yep, okay, bye, basically. I mean, you might be nicer, but you're done. You think they're done. But with the right mindset, you could assume the best. You could ask questions. You could be excited for them that they have detox. Oh, honey, we're gonna help you get through that. That just means the products are working. Isn't this great? And you're gonna keep that conversation going and you're gonna be having questions for them. So there is a big difference on how that looks, right? The speed and tone of the leader is the speed and tone of the team. Love that, Sarah, yes. Do you let things like website glitches or a messed up subscription get you all hot and bothered? You're complaining or you become angry. Now, everything is going wrong. No one can sign up right. This is why I'm not growing. You communicate that to your team, how horrible this or that is. All the while, another team over there is growing. They're excited. They're not caring because they're like, oh, well, a glitch. We'll get it fixed. And they're moving on to the next thing and signing up the next person while you're still wallowing over here worrying about what's going on. So mindset matters, right? I don't know if you guys have ever heard about back office Armageddon. That was about 5 years ago or so. Some people on here were definitely here when that was happening. And we joined, when our team was going through all this, we honestly didn't know much better. We had massive glitches with signups. We had crazy slow shipping, problems every single day that we had to call in for. And don't get me wrong, it's not like it was fun. It's not like it wasn't maybe frustrating or it maybe did cause some problems, but I don't remember wallowing in it. I don't remember being so angry and negative and all the things. We had so much going on. We were like, okay, we'll get that fixed. Okay, let's sign up the next person, right? Like we were moving. We were ranking up month after month. We were not letting the excuses of anything get in the way of what the big picture was. Mindset matters, and it's going to seep out to your team. So another thing, do you give excuses? Do you give excuses to your downline? Do you give excuses for your downline? Or do you complain to your downline? These things also duplicate. So please, 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 if you have to vent, if you have frustrations, please share them to your upline, not to your downline. It matters. So do not vent down. These are just a few examples of how mindset matters. It matters with if you even duplicate or duplicate well to begin with. It also matters with what is being duplicated down, right? Your thoughts, what you're saying, that can all be duplicated down, whether it's positive and uplifting and encouraging, or whether it's negative, complaining, excuse making, or even just apathetic, not really caring, right? So be intentional with what you are letting into your mind and what you're exuding out to others. Intentional with what you're doing because that is going to be duplicated. Be a light, be positive, be encouraging, be forgiving, have a contagious excitement, look on the bright side, be a glass half full thinker, think big, pick yourself up when you fall down, keep going. It doesn't mean that sometimes things aren't tough. It doesn't mean that life doesn't happen, but how you respond to those things, that's what matters. Duplication is such a simple word with simple steps, but it holds a big old punch and it matters. It's a super powerful tool that will make all the difference in your business for you and every single person on your team. So I want to end and ask you to reflect on a few more questions here. What are you duplicating well? What areas could you improve on? And then think about your team and think about specific, you can go by each level one and each leg. Is your team duplicating well? What areas could they improve on? And talk to your upline and ask them the same questions about yourself and get feedback. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and y'all have a great rest of your week.